I just wanted to send out a quick video about a situation that happened to one of our family friends. So, unfortunately, they weren't insured by us, but their son worked really, really hard to buy himself a car. And he was driving through the school parking lot and someone hit him, one of the other students. And so they went, kind of looked about his insurance policy. They filed a claim with the other insurance carrier, with the person who caused the collision's insurance carrier, as you should in Texas, right? And then they got a letter in the mail that said, hey, sorry, this person's excluded from the policy. And that's kind of the first thing, right? So if you ever exclude somebody from a policy, you are telling the insurer that under no circumstances is this individual going to be operating a motor vehicle in your home. So obviously the kid was, and this was at a high school, right? So it was out operating a vehicle, hit them. The family didn't have any insurance, right? So they called and they're like, what do we do? So if the other party doesn't have any insurance, what do we do? And I said, well, you've got a couple of courses of action. You know, that's why we have uninsured, underinsured, motorist property damage. So you have uninsured, underinsured motorist bodily injury. So that's to take care of you and everybody inside of your vehicle. If the person that hits you either doesn't have any insurance, they don't have enough insurance. And right now in Texas, that's like 3 out of every 5 drivers. So imagine that every 5 cars that you drive by, 3 of them either don't have any insurance or they don't have enough insurance, right? So that's for your medical bills, lost wages, pain and suffering, physical rehabilitation, and then attorney's fees. So your insurance can become their insurance. And that's what we think a lot about when we think uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage. But you also have uninsured, underinsured motorist property damage. So if the person that hurts your stuff either doesn't have any insurance, doesn't have enough insurance, I said, that's kind of the easiest way to go about it is just file against your policy. It's a no fault, right? You're not going to get your rates raised for filing that claim. It's a $250 deductible in the state of Texas. Some carriers have $251, but it's $250, and then you'll be able to use your policy. If you don't do that, you got to go after the parents, right? So that's probably a small claims court type of situation. If you knock on the door and say, hey, we need to check for this much money to repair our car that your kid damaged. So they went and they called their insurance company, and they didn't have uninsured, underinsured motorist property damage on there. So first person that hit them didn't have any insurance. They were specifically excluded. The parents had insurance. The kid, they just told the insurance company, no, Junior's not driving, right? So that usually gives you an indication of the type of people that you're dealing with to begin with. Number 2, their own policy didn't have uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage, so that's not great. And then they went to the parents, and they're like, hey, we're not doing anything. So now you got to start asking yourself some pretty big questions. Do I want to hire an attorney? Do I want to pursue litigation? How much is that going to cost me versus what am I going to recover, and how am I going to recover it? Now, I'm not an attorney, but I do know that it's hard to squeeze blood out of a turnip, right? So are we going to get a payment plan where it's $5 per month for the next 1,000 years? Are we actually going to get the money that we need? And is the money that we need going to be greater than the money that we're going to spend in going to court, filing fees, litigation expenses, all those things? So really, long story short, it's a rock and a hard place, right? And a lot of that could be resolved. Frankly, a lot of that could be resolved if we all just had the right insurance, right? If everybody on the road had the proper amount of coverage and we didn't have to worry about uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage because everybody had insurance and everybody had enough insurance. But the second thing is making sure that you have enough uninsured, underinsured motorist, both bodily injury and property damage on your policy. And I'll be the first to admit, we're in a really tough cycle right now for insurance, both on homeowners and on auto. And North Texas is just one of those places right now where the weather is very unforgiving and our fellow drivers are very unforgiving. So Friday, we had a pretty massive hail event here in North Texas that, of course, is going to drive claims, and claims drive rates. And I think we've all been around long enough to understand that, right? But when it comes to auto, it's really interesting. A lot of people try to cut corners there. They're like, well, hey, what if I reduce my coverages? What if I get rid of all these things? What do I need uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage? Let's take that off there. Do I need uninsured, underinsured motorist property damage? Take that off there, right? And the truth is, it's expensive because you do need it, right? It's expensive because insurance companies are out there writing a lot of checks. Big D Magazine said that we were the second deadliest metroplex in America about a year and 4 months ago, but we still are holding on to those numbers, right? We're still seeing collisions everywhere we go. We're still seeing a lot of injuries, and all of those things are expensive. The car repairs are expensive, the medical bills are expensive. So when you look at your insurance, whether it be your homeowner's insurance, whether it be your auto insurance, ask yourself, how much did I pay for all of the other stuff that this is protecting, right? So everything that's in my home that my insurance is designed to get me back, did I get any of that on a discount, or was that all too expensive? And if that was all too expensive and I have to go out and buy it again, what's that look like, right? Is the insurance premium lesser or greater than that? And I always say the most expensive thing you can do is self-insure, because the most expensive coverage is always not having the right coverage to do what you needed to do when you needed to do it, right? And the same thing with auto. I know people are talking about lowering their liability limits. They're like, well, what if we take it down to 100, 300? What if we take it down to 50, 100? What if we take it down to 30, 60, right? And the thing is, that's designed to pay that check that we just can't write. So are you willing to take an Uber instead of getting a rental car if your car's in the shop for a covered claim? There's some savings there. Are you willing to download an app on your phone that tracks less data than Google, but looks at hard starts, hard stops, hard turns, and helps you get a discount because it can prove that you drive safer than your peers, right? Are we willing to increase our deductibles? I'll tell you what, a $2,500 deductible to get your car fixed is a lot less than what this family's facing right now because their insurance agent didn't ensure that they had uninsured, underinsured motorist property damage. So just some things to think about. I want to try to get out, do a little more videos, more educational stuff, because I think, number one, there's a lot of misinformation about insurance, unfortunately, in the community right now. And I think there's a lot of questions and nobody knows who to ask. So if you know me, I love to talk. This video has already gone for 7.5 minutes, but I'm happy to talk to you about it. I'd love to be your agent, but even more so, I'd love to see you have the right coverage for your family so that you guys are protected and everything you've worked so hard for is taken care of as well. So I hope this was informative. I hope that it helped you out, and please take a look at your declaration pages. Make sure you have the right coverages, and if you don't know what that looks like, I have an app. I'll put a link in here, hopefully, so that you can share your declaration pages. It takes about 90 seconds. It's in a secure server. It doesn't get emailed to me. I don't get your usernames, don't get your passwords. I just get your insurance documents. We take a look at that for you, make sure that you have the right coverage. So hope you're having a great Tuesday. Stay safe, and hopefully I'll be seeing you more of you on here.